Hello, everyone. You're listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host for today, Tabetha Moreto. Our guest today is Carole Renouf, the CEO of Melanoma Institute Australia. She was appointed as the inaugural CEO of MIA in 2016. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting campaign called the Leave Your Hat On, which helps people with this particular condition. With all that said, welcome to the show, Carole. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Tabetha.
Okay, so first of all, can you please tell our audience about who you are and what you do exactly?
Yes, of course. So as Chief Executive Officer of Melanoma Institute Australia, I guess my job is to keep the ship running efficiently and effectively so that the Institute, which is the largest centre in the world, in fact, focused solely on melanoma, can continue to deliver with excellence across its treatment, research and education programs.
Okay, very interesting. Now, Carole, I'm interested in this campaign of yours called Leave Your Hat On. So can you tell us more about this particular campaign? What's so special about this?
The reason behind the campaign is really to try to get through to the market that in many ways we remain most concerned about in terms of melanoma, and that is Australians aged between 15 to 39, where in fact melanoma is the most common cancer. And that is a sad fact that very few people know, and especially that very few millennials know. So the campaign is a fun way, if you like, to seek to draw their attention to the fact that they are not immune to melanoma. Obviously, people in that, in those age brackets tend to perhaps think they're immortal, and also to draw their attention to the need for funding for melanoma research to keep creating novel life-saving treatments.
Wow, that's fascinating to know that you have this campaign to educate people, especially, like you mentioned earlier, the younger generation who knows nothing about this disease.
It's very important, in fact, that, we say younger generation, and I define that as 15 to 39, but even Australians younger than that, it's very important to sort of raise the profile of melanoma because the latest research now shows that it is, in fact, the intense intermittent exposure to too much UV radiation leading to sunburn that really increases your risk, and particularly if that exposure happens before puberty.
I see. Okay, now, so this is your chance, Carole, to explain to the younger generation, like you mentioned earlier, what is melanoma exactly, what are the causes, and what are the symptoms?
So melanoma is one form of skin cancer. There are others, but it is the most fatal form of skin cancer. So it only actually accounts for 2% of all skin cancers. The others are much more common, but it causes 75% of skin cancer deaths. And the main thing to be aware of, I guess, is number one, everybody's risk, but number two, that if you have fair Celtic skin, a lot of moles or freckles, or a family history of melanoma, or as we were saying earlier, quite a few episodes of sunburn, then that greatly increases your risk. And the melanoma may well not manifest now. It can manifest decades later.
I see. Very interesting. Thank you so much. To tell you the truth, I think I'm a part of that younger generation who doesn't know much. To tell you the truth, I don't know much about this disease, but thank you so much for educating me on this matter. I really appreciate that.
No, you're welcome. And I guess the key thing is that the good news is that it is largely preventable. Because if you catch it early, it can very successfully usually be treated with surgery. And it's only once it progresses, into the advanced stages where it moves into other organs that life gets a lot more complicated. So awareness and keeping a good eye on your skin and knowing the skin that you're in and noticing any changes. And if there are any changes, like changes in color, size, borders, etc., of a mole or freckle in particular, then go and get a check with a GP or a dermatologist.
Excellent advice. Okay, now, Carole, so can you tell me, how is this different from other types of skin cancer?
Melanoma essentially is related to sun damage in the same way as other types of skin cancer, but melanoma has a very weird and wonderful, if you like, relationship with the immune system. So it seems to be closely implicated in terms of the failure of the immune system to attack this particular form of skin cancer, because as you know, normally your immune system is geared to attack any foreign cells. Melanoma is also known as the great masquerader and seems to be able to kind of slip beneath the immune system's guard. So that is one of the areas that the Institute in particular has been devoting a lot of our research effort to. And the good news is that now that drugs such as immunotherapies, which reboot your immune system to do the job it was supposed to do in the first place, are actually on the market, we've been able to test the efficacy of many of those in the significant number of clinical trials that we offer to our patients.
I see. That's interesting. Okay, now, you mentioned something earlier about surgery. So aside from that, are there other treatment options for this particular type of skin cancer?
So yes, there are now. So literally as little as 5 to 7 years ago, there were very few. There was mainly surgery as kind of first-line treatment. And then, we used to, like you do with other cancers, try things like chemotherapy, but it was really not effective. Chemotherapy can work in some cases, but the thing that it does do is attack all cells, so healthy cells as well as, tumor cells. So that's why it is known, for having a lot of side effects, etc. Today, as we said, you have immune therapies. You also have what are called targeted therapies, which target the action of a particular gene that drives the melanoma and block that gene's action. And then you've also got, more standard treatments like radiotherapy. And often all of these are used in different combinations.
I see. That's good to know that people suffering from this disease have several treatment options instead of just one.
Indeed, and where that has made an enormous difference is in the people that I mentioned earlier, namely those with advanced disease where it has spread, because previously their prognosis was literally weeks to live. And now we have been able to significantly extend their life expectancy. So, for example, their first-year survival rate has now gone from 25% to 75%, and second year has gone from less than 15 to 50, and so on. So we're really making enormous progress.
That's fascinating. Okay, so Carole, if you don't mind, I want to ask you a personal question. So why are you so passionate about helping people with this disease?
I've actually spent pretty much all of my life working in the not-for-profit sector in one area or another, but I seem to have landed. It wasn't necessarily a plan. I seem to have particularly landed in the health and medical research sector. So not only melanoma, but other cancers and other diseases. And I think the reason I'm passionate about medical research in particular is because, you have services, health services, but they are designed to help people deal with the problem today, whereas medical research is really about changing the problem so it doesn't exist tomorrow, or at least it exists in a much less severe way. So I like that notion of the work that I do changing the future.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that story with me. That was very touching. Okay, so now, Carole, do you know how many Australians are suffering from this?
Yes, so on a kind of yearly basis, in 2016, there were about 13,000 cases of melanoma diagnosed. The incidence is rising, has been rising for the last few decades. Thankfully, it seems to be starting to level out a bit in those younger people that we were talking about. It's still high, but it's at least not continuing to rise. But it is still rising, sadly, in people of my age group, namely the over 60s, due to those many, many years of sun damage, because you have to remember that sun safety education, if you like, in Australia really only kicked in the 80s. So for those of us that are baby boomers and beyond, it was a little bit late.
I see. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's true. Regardless of what our age is, it's important, I believe it's important for people to be educated about this particular issue.
It is, because actually the and we have to be careful how we say this, because I would never want people with melanoma to kind of feel like they're being told it's their fault. Obviously, it's not. But on the other hand, it is quite easily preventable, provided that you don't have some of those high risk factors we were mentioning earlier, and that you just adopt basic sun safety measures, which are nothing new and nothing original. It's just the old stuff about SPF factor 50, apply sunscreen at least every 2 hours, wear a broad-brimmed hat, stay out of the sun in the hottest time of day between 11 and 3, cover up, and just above all, ensure that you don't get sunburnt.
Very good. Okay, so now, are there any misconceptions regarding this disease that you want to clear up today on the show?
I think the main misconception is kind of the one we started with, namely that it is only old people that, need to worry about melanoma. It really is something that, you don't need to worry about, but something that you need to be conscious of and taking preventive measures against all your life, even as we said, as a young child.
Yes, I see. Thank you for sharing that. Now, what is your takeaway message to all of our listeners?
My takeaway message would be that we would love you to get involved in the Leave Your Hat On campaign. It's a very simple matter. The website is live now. It's just leaveyourhaton.org. And sign up, select a stylish hat, a silly hat, whatever you like. Choose to wear it as a challenge for a day, a week, a month, in the month of September, and get family and friends to sponsor you. And that way, together, we will see an end to melanoma. Excellent.
By the way, I'm curious, who came up with the name Leave Your Hat On?
It's actually, it's to do with the music that we're using. So you may or may not remember the Joe Cocker version of Leave Your Hat On, which was a very popular song at the time. So that's kind of where we got the original concept. And then, of course, it links very well to melanoma because wearing a broad-brimmed hat is one of the great methods of protection.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, can you tell us how can we get in touch with you guys, or how can people get involved with Leave Your Hat On?
So simply by going to the website, leaveyourhaton.org, and registering and choosing, exactly what they're going to do in terms of hats and for how long. And then the website enables you essentially to reach out to friends and family via email to see if they will sponsor you, whether that's, 10 cents, $10, $100. And all the funds raised will go to melanoma research to keep seeing some of those new therapies coming through and being properly investigated.
All right. Thank you so much, Carole. I really appreciate your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And that was Carole Renouf, CEO of the Melanoma Institute Australia. We've just been talking about the special Leave Your Hat On campaign, which helps people suffering from melanoma. If you like this interview, transcripts and archives are available at www.hbr.fm. We're also on all social media platforms, so please don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. We're also available for download on SoundCloud and iTunes. I'm Tabetha Moreto, and you're listening to Health Professional Radio.